My beloved child, there will come a time when you realize that something within you is no longer the same as before. The things that once satisfied you will gradually lose their appeal. The voices that once pulled you to chase recognition, comfort, success, or fleeting pleasure will become small before a greater fire that I am kindling within you. You will no longer live merely to seek ease for yourself, but will begin to ache with the pain that moves my heart, to be stirred by what stirs me, and to turn your heart toward those who have wandered from the light, toward generations whose faith is running dry, toward hearts covered by weariness, doubt, and despair. This is not a change you have created by yourself. It is the sign that I am placing upon you a deeper calling, a life no longer circling around itself, but widened to carry my love into places where light is lacking. My child, do not be surprised when the things that once brought you joy are no longer enough to fill your heart. When I touch a person, I do not only comfort them, I also redirect their desires. I do not only wipe away tears, I also turn those tears into compassion for others. I do not only heal the hidden wounded places, I also use the very places that have been restored as a stream for those who are dry. Perhaps before this, you asked why you had to pass through so many seasons of silence, why there were periods when you were misunderstood, isolated, and placed in circumstances beyond what you could bear. But I want you to know that no part of the road you have walked is wasted in my hands. Every scratch, every long night, every time you thought you could not rise again, all of it has been used by me to build within you a steadfast foundation, so that when the day comes for you to be sent, you will not speak only with words, but with a life that has been tested. There are those who teach from books, but I am preparing you to speak from the place that has been touched by holy fire. There are those who comfort with familiar words, but I am making you into one who knows how to sit beside the grieving without rushing to judge. There are those who look at the weak from a distance, but you will look at them with mercy, because you know what it feels like to tremble in the dark. The very days when you were lonely will help you recognize the one who is lonely. The very times when you needed to be lifted up will make your hands gentler when you lift others. The very times when you were misunderstood will teach you to listen more deeply, to draw conclusions more slowly, and to love with greater humility. I do not send you because you are perfect, nor do I send you because you possess every ability in the eyes of men. I send you because you belong to me, because you have learned my voice in lonely places, because you have been shaped in seasons no one saw. The world often looks for those who shine brightly on the stage, but I often choose hearts that have learned to bow low in the secret place. The world loves roads with applause, honor, and rewards that can be seen at once, but I lead those who belong to me onto quieter paths, where only true love can remain standing. There will be times when you are brought to places no one wants to go, to meet people who have been forgotten, to touch stories many others avoid. But do not be afraid, for that place is not where I am far from you. On the contrary, it may be where you feel my nearness most clearly. Remember Philip in the early days when the church was spreading. He was in the midst of fruitful work, in the city of Samaria, where many people listened and rejoiced before my power. To natural eyes, remaining where the crowds were, where there was great response, seemed more reasonable. But I led him away from that commotion onto a deserted road, into the wilderness, just to meet one man sitting in a chariot, longing to understand what he was reading, but having no one to explain it to him. To people, it may have seemed like a chance meeting on an empty road. To me, it was the precise arrangement of grace. One obedient person stepping into a lonely place became a bridge for my light to touch a seeking heart. Do you see? Sometimes a great sending does not begin with a crowd. but with a quiet act of obedience on a road no one notices. In the same way, I may call you to leave what is going well and step into a place you do not immediately understand. I may place in your heart a burden for one person, a group of people, a land, a generation, or a work that no one yet esteems. Do not despise those small stirrings. A timely word of care can keep someone from collapsing. An intercession in the night can open the way for a deliverance your eyes have not yet seen. A quiet act of love can become the first sign that someone has not been forgotten by me. You do not always need to know the full outcome of your obedience. You only need to be faithful with what I have placed in your hands today. There will be doors I open that you could never open by yourself. There will be support that does not come from the relationships you calculated, nor from the influence you built, but from my arrangement. When I entrust you with something beyond your natural ability, it is not to make you afraid, but to teach you to live in complete dependence on me. If everything you do fits neatly within your own strength, you will easily think that you yourself are the source. But when I place before you a mission larger than you will learn to pray more deeply, listen more carefully, walk more humbly, and recognize that my grace is enough for each day. Beloved child, I do not demand that you be strong at every moment in the way human beings often praise. I know there will be days when you are tired, moments when you tremble, and stretches of the road when you feel no one understands you. What I seek in you is not an outward appearance that never becomes weak, but a heart that does not run away from my call. When darkness comes, you only need to take my hand. When there are no words left to say, you only need to remain before me. When you feel small before what has been entrusted to you, remember that smallness in my hands is not an obstacle. It is the place where my power is revealed in purity. I will not let you go alone. My Spirit will go ahead to prepare the way. My protection will cover you, and help from heaven will be sent at the exact moment you need it. But you must also understand that being sent always comes with letting go. No one can cling tightly to everything old and still step lightly into the new thing I give. Sometimes you must refuse things that appear reasonable simply because they no longer belong to the direction I have for you. Sometimes you must lay down dreams that were once very beautiful, not because they are bad, but because I am calling you into a deeper purpose. Sometimes you must leave the place that is safe, familiar, and easier for others to understand, in order to step out upon waters where only faith can uphold you. Do not see letting go as mere loss in my hand. Letting go is the empty space where the sacred can be placed. When you step out, you will see things that those standing on the shore never see. You will see support arrive at the exact moment. You will see doors open after the first step of obedience. You will see your heart expand to love more than you thought possible. You will see fear no longer remain your master, because my presence is greater than the roar of circumstances. And in the very place where you thought you would sink, you will realize that my hand is holding you steady. The miracle is not only what happens around you, the miracle is also what I do within you. When someone who once feared becomes courageous, someone once wounded becomes gentle, someone who once wanted to withdraw now rises for the sake of love. Therefore, my child, be ready. Let me purify small desires so that you may carry a greater longing. Let me teach you to weep over what I love, to stand where I send you, to speak what I place in your heart, and to love those whom the world has forgotten. Do not seek applause as the sign that you are on the right path, for there are holy roads that begin in silence. Do not be afraid when the task is greater than your strength, for that is when you will know me as the unfailing source. Do not step back when the darkness is thick, for my light within you was not kindled to be hidden, but to shine into places that need hope. I have prepared you through many seasons, And now I will continue to lead you, step by step, day by day, until you see that everything you have passed through was preparation for the mission of love I have placed upon your life. My beloved child, quiet your heart and remember that I am faithful from the beginning unto eternity, and the things I have spoken will never be faded by time. When I called Abraham to leave what was familiar, I was not merely inviting him to step out of a land, I was leading him into a journey of faith, where a person must learn to believe before seeing, obey before fully understanding, and place all trust in me before the promise appears before the eyes. I placed upon his life a covenant that did not begin from human strength, but from my mercy and my choosing. Through one person who knew how to trust, I raised up a lineage. Through one life, willing to walk according to a divine call, I opened a plan that would stretch across generations. Understand this, I do not need much to begin something great. I only need a heart willing to let me lead. A faith that does not retreat when the road ahead is still hidden. The sign I gave Abraham was not merely an outward ritual, but a reminder that those who belong to me must be distinguished by faithfulness, by a consecrated life, by a heart that does not run after every chaos of the world. My child, I do not seek empty forms in you, nor am I pleased with beautiful declarations when the heart remains far from me. What I long for in you is being set apart in every thought, every choice, every hidden direction no one sees. I want you to carry my mark not on outward appearance, but in the purity of your heart, in the way you love, forgive, endure, obey, and keep yourself from the things that dim the light I have placed within you. When you live as one who belongs to me, your peace, integrity, and faith will become a holy sign in a generation filled with unrest. Then remember the days when my people were held captive in a foreign land, when their cries rose through many years that seemed to hold no way out. I heard. I did not forget a single tear, overlook a single cry, or remain indifferent to any oppression. When I sent Moses back to Egypt, I did not only send a man with a staff in his hand, I sent a living message that the power of men cannot stand against my will. Pharaoh thought his throne was secure, thought his own will could hinder my people. But I revealed that every dominion under heaven must bow before the one who made heaven and earth. The signs and wonders that took place were not to spread meaningless terror, but to proclaim that my holiness cannot be despised and my justice cannot be bargained with. There were waters that once nourished the land but became a sign that creation rests in my hand. There were fields once full of pride that were covered over, so that mankind would know abundance is not an idol to be worshipped. Darkness came to expose the helplessness of those who resisted the true light. And when the final plagues touched Egypt, that whole land had to know that hardening the heart before me always leads to ruin. But in the midst of judgment, I still preserved my people, because I know those who belong to me. I distinguish them not by their own strength, but by my promise. Beloved child, remember this: when I rise on your behalf, no force can imprison what I have determined to set free. Chains that have lasted for years can still be broken at the moment I declare that the time has come. At the Red Sea, I taught my people a lesson that you also need to keep in your heart today. Before them was the deep sea. Behind them was the pursuing enemy. And on either side was a space that seemed to offer no way of escape. In their eyes, it was a dead end. In my eyes, it was the place where I was about to open a road that had never existed. I do not always lead you through familiar ways, because there are glories that are revealed only where you no longer have the ability to save yourself. When the staff of Moses was lifted and the waters parted, when dry ground appeared in the heart of the sea, I proved that the boundaries of nature are not the boundaries of my power. Where you think it is the end, I can place a path, where you think you will be swallowed. I can raise up a corridor of deliverance, where you tremble most. I can turn it into an altar where your faith is strengthened. So when you stand before things that seem impossible to cross, do not quickly conclude that you have run out of ways. I can open a path in a way you have never imagined. I can dry the depths that frighten you. I can lead you through the very things that once threatened to drown you and bring you to the other side with a new understanding of my power and my love. What I did at the Red Sea does not belong only to the past. It is an eternal reminder that I am still the Waymaker, still the Deliverer, still the one who turns dead ends into testimonies of my faithfulness. When my people entered the wilderness, I did not leave them to wander in abandonment. I knew the wilderness is a place that easily discourages the human heart, because there are no familiar assurances there, no fields already prepared, no fortified cities to rely on, no shade lasting long enough to forget one's own fragility. But in that very place, I taught them that their life did not come from human storehouses, but from my care. By day, I led them with a pillar of cloud to cover them and show the way. By night, I went before them as a pillar of fire, so the light would not go out in the darkness. They did not always know where tomorrow would lead, but they knew I was before them. They did not see the whole journey, but they had enough of a sign to take the next step in obedience. Beloved child, there are seasons in your life that are also like the wilderness. You no longer feel that everything is certain as before. You can no longer cling to the things that once gave you a sense of safety, and you cannot clearly see the final destination. But I want you to understand that the wilderness is not the place where I am absent. Often it is the very place where you learn to recognize me more clearly. When the wide road disappears, you will learn to look to my pillar of cloud. When night falls and your heart becomes shaken, you will learn to follow my pillar of fire. When you do not know which way to turn, I will place within you a gentle yet certain knowing, so that you may understand which step belongs to my good purpose. Do not fear the empty spaces, for in those empty spaces, my voice can resound more clearly than all the noise you once heard. When they were hungry, I gave manna from heaven, not so that they would hoard in greed, but so that they would learn to trust each day. Every morning, grace appeared upon the ground as a reminder that I did not forget the needs of my people. I did not only guide, I also nourished. I did not only promise, I also provided. And when they were thirsty in the dry land, I caused water to flow from the rock, so they would know that even the place that seemed hardest, coldest, and most hopeless could become a source of life when I commanded it. My child, I still do the same with you. I can bring freshness out of the place you thought had no hope left. I can cause joy to flow out of dry days. I can use even the hardest circumstance to reveal my tenderness. Remember also the story of Joshua, when my people stood before the Jordan River during the season when its waters overflowed the banks. After many years passing through the wilderness, they faced another boundary before entering the land of promise. I did not tell the waters to recede before they put their feet down. I taught the priests to step forward in faith, carrying the Ark of the Covenant into the river. And when their feet touched the water, the river stopped, and the way opened. Do you see? There are miracles that are opened only when you obey and step forward. I do not always remove every obstacle before you act. Sometimes I wait for you to step in trust. And then my power upholds what you cannot cross by yourself. Therefore, my child, ask me to become the pillar of cloud in the days when you need covering, the pillar of fire in the nights when you need light, the manna in the morning when you need new strength, and the water from the rock in the season when you thirst for restoration. Let my covenant be engraved deeply in your heart, so that you do not belong to chaos, but to peace, so that you do not live by fear, but by promise, so that you are not led by the darkness before your eyes, but by my holy presence. I led Abraham by promise, Moses by power, my people by cloud and fire, fed them with bread from heaven, quenched their thirst with water from the rock, and opened the river for Joshua to cross. I will also lead you. I will also keep you. I will also open the way at the right time, so that you may know that I am the faithful Father, the one who never abandons those who place their trust in me. My child, do not think this season of testing has come only to make you weary. No, I am using this very season to expand your vision, so that you no longer look at your life through the old eyes of anxiety, but through a sight illuminated by my presence. Before, perhaps you saw only obstacles, delays, and things that seem not yet answered. But when you pray with a watchful heart, you will begin to recognize that behind the silence there is preparation. Behind the waiting there is a hand arranging things. And behind what has not yet arrived, there is a good time that I have appointed. I do not delay because I have forgotten you. I preserve the rhythm of all things so that what comes to you will not only be right, but complete. Come to me with a heart that is not closed. My beloved, do not come as one who only wants to pour out pain and then turn away, but come as a child returning to their father, knowing that here there is listening, healing, guidance, and unchanging love. I do not require you to speak with eloquent words, nor do I wait until you become perfect before I listen. A sincere sigh can still touch the throne of grace. A whisper in the night can still be held by me as a precious fragrance. A desire that has not yet become words is already understood by me from the deepest place within you. Perhaps you have prayed and waited, yet have not seen what you long for appear. Perhaps you have wondered whether your words were lost among the many cries of the world. But my child, I have never confused your voice. I know your voice among countless sounds. I can distinguish your voice even when it trembles, even when it is choked, even when it remains only silence placed before me. Everything you offer does not disappear. It is remembered by me. Why hid in love? And answered by me in the way that brings the deepest good for you. What you call delay is sometimes protection. What you call unanswered is sometimes me leading you toward a greater answer. Remember Habakkuk, who once stood amid things he could not understand, saw chaotic circumstances, and brought heavy questions before me. He did not pretend to be strong, nor did he hide his confusion. He brought everything into prayer and stood waiting to hear me speak within his heart. And then, while everything did not immediately change, he was led into a deeper understanding. The one who trusts will not live by what the eyes see in front of them, but by the certainty that I am still holding the times. Do you see? Prayer does not always change circumstances instantly, but first, it lifts your vision, so that you are no longer imprisoned in the chaos of the present, but begin to see by the light of the promise. Therefore, when facing uncertainty, do not allow fear to sit in the place of leadership. Fear often speaks quickly, speaks loudly, pushes you to decide in panic, and causes you to doubt my care. But my voice is different. I lead you with deep peace, with wisdom that is not noisy, with gentle signs that the hurried often overlook. When you pause to ask for clarity, I will open your eyes to see what needs to be seen. Open your ears to hear what needs to be heard, and place within you the ability to discern between what comes from me and what only wears the appearance of goodness. Not every open door is the path I have for you, and not every delay is an obstruction. Sometimes I close a way to protect you from what would wear you down. Sometimes I hold you back a little longer to prepare you for a wider place. Beloved child, learn to pray, not only to ask, but also to recognize there are those who ask for what they want, but do not wait to hear what I want to teach. There are those who seek blessing, but overlook guidance. But I am inviting you into a deeper communion, where you do not only bring me a list of what you need, but also place your hand in mine and say, "Lead me along the way you know is best." When you pray this way, your heart will no longer be pulled away by every outside voice. You will know what brings true peace, what draws you away from the light, what nourishes life within, and what only makes you heavier. Do not be disappointed if clarity comes in parts, rather than all at once in a single moment. I often light the lamp for each step, not so you can control the whole road, but so you can learn to trust the one who is leading you. If I showed you everything from the beginning, your heart might become frightened by the steep slopes, or proud before the heights. So I give enough light for today, enough grace for the present, enough strength for the next step. Each time you obey what I illuminate, another part of the road will open. Each time you choose peace instead of haste, you will recognize my hand more clearly. My child, prayer in this season will also make your heart steady before the noises of confusion. The world may offer many kinds of advice, many roads, many promises that leave you unsettled. Some things sound very appealing, yet do not carry my breath. Some opportunities look very bright, yet pull you away from the peace I have placed within you. Therefore, bring every decision before me. Do not treat prayer as the final step after you have tried every way. Let prayer be the place where you begin. When you begin with me, you will not be easily swept into choices that are only beautiful on the outside. I will teach you to recognize the difference between a pleasant path and a righteous path, between an attractive invitation and a holy leading. Then you will see that the closer you remain to me in prayer, the less uncertainty can make you tremble. Not because you know everything, but because you know who holds everything. Not because you no longer face trials, but because you understand that trials cannot separate you from my care. Not because every question receives an immediate answer, but because my presence is enough to keep you in peace while the answer is still being formed. I am going before you, clearing what must be cleared, opening what must be opened, blocking what must be blocked, and preparing you for what you cannot yet fully imagine today. So lift your prayer with pure hope. Pray with faith that I hear. Wait with certainty that I do not forget. Walk with the humility of one who knows they are being led. When you do not know what to choose, return to me. When your heart wavers, return to me. When a door opens and you need discernment, return to me. I will not let you go astray when you sincerely seek my guidance. I will place clarity where there was once fog, peace where there was once confusion, and light upon every step you take. Take heart, for your prayer in this season is not useless. It is opening the way, softening dry ground, and drawing you closer to the good purpose I prepared long ago for your life. Beloved child, do not despise the small things appearing in your life right now. A small opportunity, a kind person who comes near, an idea that lights up, an unexpected peace in the midst of unchanged circumstances. All of these may be signs that I am leading you into a new season. I often do not begin restoration with thunder that shakes the sky, but with the first raindrop falling upon dry ground. I do not always open the great door before your eyes immediately, but sometimes I place a small key in your hand, then teach you to recognize which door belongs to you. So walk with watchful eyes and a tender heart, so that you do not miss my gentleness in the most ordinary things. I know there have been times when you felt lonely, as though no one understood what you were carrying in your heart. There were nights when you were silent, not because you had nothing to say, but because you were too weary to explain your pain. But, my child, I was there. I was in your trembling breath, in the tear you quickly wiped away, in the times you told yourself you had to be strong while inside you were cracking. I did not stand far away and watch you struggle alone. I bent down nearer to you than you could feel. When you thought you were passing through the darkness by yourself, I was the one keeping your feet from slipping off the appointed path. Do not fear the trials that still remain on the journey, for you do not walk by your own strength. I will uphold you in every step. Correct what has become misaligned. Open a way of escape where you see only high walls, and place the right people at the right time when they are needed. What is beyond your ability is not beyond my power. What confuses you does not surprise me. What you do not yet know how to resolve, I have already seen beforehand and prepared guidance for you. The future is not an enemy waiting ahead of you, in my hands. The future is a land covered by promise, watered by faithfulness, and opened piece by piece according to the good time. Then there will come a day when you look back and understand why certain doors closed, why certain people left, why certain plans you once loved did not come to pass. Not every ending is a loss. Some endings are the way I free you from what has become too narrow, so I may lead you into something wider. There were times when I did not give you what you wanted at that moment because I was preserving you for something more worthy. There are pains that did not come to destroy you, but to make you deeper, softer, humbler, and more luminous before me. You will see that no part of the road is wasted when it rests in my hand. Therefore, have courage and keep walking. Let joy return like sunlight pouring through the window after a long night. Let hope grow within you like a young tree stretching upward after the rainy season. Stop condemning yourself for the days when you were weak. For I do not look at you with eyes of punishment. I look at you with the love of the one who knew you before you could even name yourself. I do not only want you to survive the difficult seasons, I want you to bloom after them. I do not only wipe away your tears, I am also preparing days when laughter will return with greater clarity. Gratitude will become deeper, and your steps will become steadier.